The sound of footsteps echoed down the narrow corridor, sending chills down Samantha's spine. She clutched her backpack tightly, her heart pounding with fear. She had heard tales of this place, but she never thought she would find herself here. Samantha had just finished her school day and was walking home when a black van pulled up beside her. Suddenly, a man had grabbed her from behind and forced her into the van. Her eyes were covered, and she was taken to an abandoned building where the man left her alone in a cold, dark room. For hours, Samantha had sat there, her mind racing with terror and uncertainty. She wondered if anyone would come looking for her, if she would ever see her family again. But as the footsteps grew louder, those hopes began to fade. The door creaked open, revealing a tall, menacing figure. Samantha couldn't see his face, but she felt his cold, piercing gaze on her. He walked towards her slowly, dragging a metal chair behind him. "Who are you?" Samantha asked, her voice quivering. The man didn't answer. He simply sat down in front of her and began to speak in a low, menacing tone. "You're going to tell me everything I want to know," he said. "And if you don't, well, let's just say you won't be leaving this place alive." Samantha's mind raced. What did he want from her? What could she possibly tell him that would save her life? But before she could gather her thoughts, the man grabbed her by the hair and slammed her head against the wall. Samantha screamed in agony, her vision becoming blurry. She felt his hand tighten around her throat, choking the life out of her. Days turned into weeks, and Samantha lost all track of time. The man had subjected her to every form of torture imaginable, leaving her broken and bruised. But even in the midst of her suffering, Samantha refused to give in. She clung to the hope that someday she would be free, that she would be reunited with her family. And finally, on the 20th day, something changed. Samantha heard the sound of voices outside her door. It was the police. They had found her and were coming to rescue her. The door burst open, and Samantha felt a wave of relief wash over her. She was safe, finally out of the nightmare that had consumed her for what felt like an eternity. But as she looked up at the officers, she saw something in their eyes that frightened her. It was a look of horror, of disgust. And then she realized why. The man who had kidnapped her was her own father. Samantha's life would never be the same again. She was taken to a hospital for treatment of her injuries and counseling. She had a long road ahead of her to heal, both physically and mentally. Her father was arrested and sentenced to life in prison, and Samantha was left to rebuild her life from the ashes of her past. It was a long, hard journey, but Samantha survived. She learned to love and trust again, and she found the strength to move on. She knew that what had happened to her was not her fault, and she refused to let it define her. In the end, Samantha emerged from her ordeal as a survivor, a warrior, a symbol of hope for others who had suffered as she had. She was a living testament to the power of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of light.